Hey everyone, welcome to a brand new podcast episode. In this one, we recap and round off all the major professional races from the last few weeks. So let's begin the podcast after this intro. Let's go. Hey guys, welcome back to our podcast episode. This would be a combined round of the international races that happened during the last few weekends, and we have ended the Wsbk season and we're about to come to an end of the 2020 MotoGP season. So let's start off with the first race review, which is of the Magny-Cours race in Wsbk. So if we talk about the first race, Rie wins a dramatic first race in the wet Magny-Cours circuit, read the headlines. So Jonathan Rie claimed his 10th victory of the 2020 season as other riders crashed in a wet race in the Magny-Cours circuit. The drama began itself on the first turn as Tom Sykes and his teammate Eugene Lavity retired from the race. Lavity was taken out by Sykes as he was hit by Garrett Gerloff from behind. After this incident, Gerloff was then battling for the top spot with Loris Baz. Gerloff then fell behind in the race following a huge mistake on turn 5 as he recovered and eventually retired from the race due to another crash in turns 6 and 7. After the incident, Gerloff was injured and taken for a medical checkup by the authorities. Now Rie and Baz then took charge of the race, with Rie eventually winning and Baz securing his first podium position in a long time. Alex Lowes managed to finish in third place, his first podium since the Australian round and his third podium in the 2020 season. Chaz Davies came fourth and Redding finished in fifth place. Sixth place was secured by Toprak Razgatlioglu. Michael Rubin Rinaldi finished in seventh place as Xavi Forés finished in eighth. Michael van der Mark finished in ninth in front of Leandro Mercado, who finished in 10th position. Federico Caricasulo finished in 11th, with Alvaro Bautista finishing in 12th. Sylvain Barrier finished in 13th. Valentin Debis scored 14th place, with Javier Pinsache claiming 15th. Samuel Cavalieri finished in 16th. Takumi Takahashi finished in 17th place. Haslam, Gerloff, Sykes and Lavity all retired from the race. Now the top 6 riders after the Wsbk race 1 were Jonathan Rie in first position, Loris Baz in second, Alex Lowes, Chaz Davies, Scott Redding and Toprak Razgatlioglu. Now with this race 1 ending and Jonathan Rie winning, we moved on to the Super Bowl race. Now Super Bowl race is where again Jonathan Rie showed his class as he wins his 99th race in the World Superbike category. Now Tissot Super Bowl race went full steam ahead as Jonathan Rie led a Kawasaki 1-2 finish in a rainy circuit, the Nevers Magny-Cours. Rie started the race in third place as he took the race lead by turn 2, and from then on he took his 99th race win with immense class. Now Lowes came in second, securing his second podium of the Magny-Cours weekend, with Michael van der Mark completing the final podium finish. Scott Redding finished in fourth as he battled with van der Mark through turn 15 on the final lap to eventually take home the fourth position. He finished 4 seconds clear of Chaz Davies, with Loris Baz completing the top 6. Michael Rubin Rinaldi reached 7th place, with American Garrett Gerloff finishing in 8th. Toprak Razgatlioglu claimed a 9th place, holding off Leandro Mercado and Leon Haslam. Eugene Lavity and Tom Sykes of the BMW team started the race from first and second but finished out of the points position. Federico Caricasulo crashed out of the race in turn 15. Now the top 6 after the Tissot Super Bowl race were Jonathan Rie, Alex Lowes, Michael van der Mark, Scott Redding, Chaz Davies and Loris Baz. Now with the Super Bowl race done, it was time to move on to the race. Scott Redding won the second race and took the title fight further. Now Scott Redding claimed victory in race 2 to take the title fight further, with the rival Jonathan Rie finishing in 4th from pole. Rie started the race from pole as he led for the first 3 laps. Redding then made his way up to battle him and passed Rie on the 4th lap. From there on, Redding dominated the race to take valuable 25 points in the championship battle. Wsbk claimed his second podium of the French GP, with Chaz Davies completing the podium places. Davies made a move on lap 14 as he pushed Ray down to 4th place. Now in terms of championship points, Ray leads Redding by 59 points with 62 available in the remaining 3 races. Ray tried to fight back in the latter stages of the race, but Davies was able to stay ahead. Michael van der Mark finished in 5th, while Michael Rubin Rinaldi finished in 6th. Alex Lowe's finished in 7th, with Gareth Gerloff securing a top 8 finish. Toprak Razgatlioglu and Tom Sykes completed the top 10. Italian rider Federico Caricasulo finished in 11th, with Sylvain Barrier finishing in 12th. Leon Hasdam, Eugene Laverty, Alvaro Batista rounded up the top 15 positions, with Samuel Cavalieri securing the 16th place. Valentin Debes and Takumi Takahashi finished the race, with Xavi Forest and Leonardo Mercado, who did not finish the race. Pinsac and Mercado suffered crashes during the race, with Mercado out of the race in the first lap itself. Now the top 6 following race 2 were Scott Redding, Loris Baz, Chaz Davies, Jonathan Ray, Michael van der Mark and Michael Rinaldi. So eventually, in a high, dramatic, pulsating round in the Magny-Cours circuit, Ray claimed 2 race wins to consolidate his lead, while Redding closed the gap by winning race 2 and keeping his championship hopes alive. It is time to move on to the MotoGP race that happened in Le Mans circuit in the last couple of weeks. Now, Daniele Petrucci of the Ducati team emerged victorious in a wet race at Le Mans, in a mouth-watering premier race encounter to beat Moto2 world champion Alex Marquez of the Repsol Honda team. Although Alex Marquez rode a wonderful race, finishing P2 from P18, he was not able to challenge for the top position in the Le Mans circuit. Now, Paul Espargaro of the Red Bull KTM factory racing team claimed the 3rd position to round off the podium places. Andre Dovizioso picked up P4, with Fabio Quartararo, Joan Mir and Maverick Vinales finishing P9 and lower. As the race started, the grey clouds threatened to cancel the race as the riders came to the grid. Although the weather forecast did not predict rain 5 minutes before the start of the race, the rain started falling. The race was then delayed as the riders headed back to the garage. Now that the rain was in play, it was all hands on deck as the second set of bikes warmed up and got ready for a wet start. Now, with the new race direction of 26 laps confirmed, tensions reached a boiling point already. The race was declared a wet weather race with an unfamiliar territory for the top riders in the championship, especially Quartararo and Mir. The duo had not experienced wet weather conditions, but now, as the race started, they were about to. As the pit lane opened, a flag-to-flag race was a real possibility. The riders were allowed to swipe their dry weather bike at any moment. Now, Miller got off to a fast launch from the start, as did Cal Crutchlow of the LCR Honda Castrol team. The Australian grabbed the first position at the start. Valentino Rossi's race was over early as he crashed in turn 3. The doctor could not get his bike going after that. It was a Ducati 1-2-3 at the front as Petrucci and Dovizioso got the better of Quartararo and Crutchlow, who slipped back to P6 on the opening lap. The 3 Ducatis started to pull away from the start as Petrucci led the way with Dovizioso in second, getting the better of Miller. The Pramac Ducati ran wide in turn 6 as Paul Espargaro battled with Quartararo to eventually find a way past, as the Frenchmen dropped down in the positions again. Now, Crutchlow and Bradley Smith were past Quartararo before Miguel Oliveira threw him at turn 13. Oliveira and Quartararo went wide as Alex Marquez produced a stunning first few laps to get into P8. At the front, Petrucci, Dovizioso and Miller were running close as Alex Rins, who was riding on medium compound rain tires, was half a second quicker than the riders ahead. The gap was soon down to 1.5 seconds on lap 8 as 3 successive fastest laps by Rins looked like he could be the only rider to take the fight to the 3 GP20s. With 18 laps to go, Quartararo was sitting in P1 and Mir was sitting in P9. Vinales and Franco Morbidelli were also out of the points position. The rain started to fall again and now 5th place man Paul Espargaro was fastest on the track. The KTM star was behind Rins, who in turn was 1.5 seconds off the Ducatis. Espargaro then set another fastest lap of the race, couple of tenths quicker than the race leader Petrucci. On lap 11, Rins was running wide on the 1.44s. He was 8 tenths quicker than Petrucci as the GXRR rider was within the touching distance of Miller's rear wheel. Lap 13 came. Half the race was done. Rins made his move. Turn 7 was the place, but he went slightly wide to allow Miller through. Now, with 13 laps to go, it was now a 4-rider fight for victory. Further back, Mir found pace as he got into a battle with Morbidelli, Vinales and Aleix Espargaro, with Quartararo not far behind in P1. With 12 laps to go, Rins made a move on Miller in turn 3, but Miller was back up to P3 at turn 8. Paul Espargaro and Marquez closing in, the reigning Moto2 world champion was the fastest man on the circuit. The top 8 was split by 4.3 seconds. Now, with 10 laps to go, Oliveira became the fastest man in the top 8 with 4 seconds separating the fastest riders on track. Dovizioso picked up the baton of the lead heading into turn 3. Petrucci fought back at turn 8, but Dovizioso dived underneath to take the lead. Rins was up inside of all the Ducatis as Dovi lost ground and dropped to P4. Miller then went wide and Rins was now in P2, as well as Petrucci, who was now back into P1. The Aussie was out with 8 laps to go. Moments later, at turn 3, Rins, on the next lap at turn 10 again, cruel luck emerged for Miller as his Ducati started to exhale smoke. The Aussie was out with 8 laps to go. Moments later, at turn 3, Rins was down as it ended Suzuki's dreams of a Le Mans win. The drama exploded further, which saw Crutchlow crash out of the race. Now all this chaos gave Petrucci an advantage. With 6 to go, the Italian was quicker than anybody on track. Petrucci's lead rose by 2.5 seconds with Dovizioso in second and Marquez in P3. Paul Espargaro and Oliveira were right behind next to Dovizioso and Marquez as 7th place Johan Zarco set the fastest lap of the race. With 5 laps to go, Dovizioso started to reel in teammate Petrucci. 4 laps to go, the gap was 1.7 seconds further out and soon came down to 1.3 seconds. Dovizioso, Marquez, Paul Espargaro and Oliveira were catching up to Petrucci. 3 laps to go, Marquez was up P2 as Dovizioso left a small gap down in turn 6. Dovizioso was running out of grip as Espargaro was through on him at turn 3. With 2 laps to go, Oliveira was swarming in the front. Dovi was a sitting duck now and Oliveira was through. Dovi was now defenseless and all this was aiding 8th place Quartararo in terms of title race. Dovi was a sitting duck as Oliveira went through. Now Marquez was now hunting Petrucci. The gap was now 1.2 seconds. Paul Espargaro was looking good at P2 with Dovi somehow holding off Oliveira. Halfway around the lap, Petrucci was holding strong in the front and it was his race to lose now. Petrucci made no mistake as he took his second MotoGP victory. Marquez held off Espargaro to finish in second position. It was his first podium finish in the Premier class, with Espargaro finishing number 3 position. Dovizioso lost out on a podium place as he did not have the rear grip to hold on to a podium place. Dovi had gained grounds in the championship chase to move above Vinales in P3, 18 points off Quartararo. Zarco showed awesome race pace to get better of Oliveira on the final lap. It was a P5 finish for the Frenchman as Oliveira made it to P6 in a solid ride. Takaki Nakagami of the LCR Honda Idemitsu team took P7 to keep his 100% 2020 top 10 record intact. Stefan Bradl of the Repsol Honda team crossed the line in P8, a second ahead of Quartararo, who finished in P9. The home hero extended his lead in the overall standings. Vinales and Mir were right behind El Diablo as they took the checkered flag in P10 and P11. The top 4 in the championship now just sit 20 points apart heading into the Aragon round. Brad Binder and Francisco Bagnaia finished their first wet MotoGP race in P12 and P13. Aleix Espargaro and Iker Lecuona of the Red Bull KTM Tech 3 team completed the points tally, with Franco Morbidelli of the Petronas Yamaha SRT team crashed in lap 17. Smith and Tito Rabat of E-Sponsorama Racing team added to the crash list at the Le Mans. 19-point split Quartararo, Mir, Dovizioso, Vinales heading into the Motorland Aragon double header. Let's see what happens in the next round. Till then, the top 10 riders after the race were Danilo Petrucci of the Ducati team, Alex Marquez of the Repsol Honda team, Paul Espargaro of the Red Bull KTM Racing team, Andrea Dovizioso of the Ducati team, Johan Zarco of the E-Sponsorama Racing team, Miguel Oliveira of the Red Bull KTM Tech 3 team, Takaki Nakagami of the LCR Honda Idemitsu team, Stefan Bradl of the Repsol Honda team, Fabio Quartararo of the Petronas Yamaha team, and Maverick Vinales of the Monster Energy Yamaha MotoGP team. Now let's talk about the Estoril World Superbike. Estoril Race 1 started with Jonathan Rea wrapping up his 6th consecutive World Superbike title with a stunning fight back in Race 1. Now Jonathan Rea secured his 6th consecutive Motul FIM Superbike World Championship in Race 1 of the Estoril World Superbike race. As top rack, Razgat Lioglu took an amazing victory at the Circuito Estoril. While the eventual challenger, Scott Redding, had to retire from the race due to a technical issue. Now, although Jonathan Rea was the talk of the town, it was a great day for Razgat Lioglu. He made a fantastic start from the pole position as he converted his first career pole into his second win of the year. He was joined on the podium with Chaz Davies and American Garrett Gerloff. If we talk about the world champion, he started from the middle of the grid and soon found himself in the top 10 as he gained an impressive 8 positions on the opening lap. He then quickly improved upon his position in the following lap as he passed teammate Alex Loos and Michael van der Mark in turn 1. He moved into second place as he made a move on Gerloff in turn 1. Although the American rookie was looking at the world champion at his rear, he responded a lap later as he fought gracefully with the world champion. During the battle for the second place, Davies came in between as he made a move on Rea to move into the second place. Rea and Gerloff then engaged in a sensational battle for third place during the rest of the 21-lap race. This allowed Razgat Lioglu and Davies to pull away at the front as they finished first and second places. Gerloff moved ahead of Rea at turn 1 on lap 14 and started to pull away from Rea as he secured his second career podium. Now, Rea finished the race in 4th place as he lost ground to the riders in front of him, but managed to secure a large margin over the 5th place Leon Haslam, who battled hard with Alex Loos and Alvaro Bautista to secure a commendable 5th place. Loos finished the race in 6th place after he was unable to catch Haslam on the last lap. Michael Rubin Rinaldi finished in 7th place behind the Loos Haslam Bautista battle as he was unable to take advantage of the trio battling each other in front of him. Xavi Forest secured 8th while Frenchman Loris Baz finished in 9th. Tom Sykes completed the top 10 just behind Baz, 22.5 seconds clear of Jonas Folger, who finished the race in impressive 11th place. He finished 10 seconds clear of Eugene Laverty, who finished in 12th. Argentinian rider Leandro Mercado finished in the points, secured a 13th place finish ahead of Takumi Takahashi and his teammate Eric Renado. Federico Caricasulo did not finish the race after a crash with Michael van der Mark, who also did not finish the race after he came off his bike while battling for the podium. Championship rival Redding retired from the race with a technical issue on lap 6, confirming Rea as a 6-time world champion. Matteo Ferrari also was not able to finish the race. The top 6 riders following the race, World Superbike Race 1 were Toprak Razgatlioglu, Chaz Davies, Garrett Gerloff, Jonathan Rea, Leon Haslam and Alex Rose. So a fantastic race coming to an end where Jonathan Rea was the world champion again. Now with that, we moved on to the Super Bowl race where Toprak Razgatlioglu made it 2 race wins in a row at the Circuito Estoril. Now Toprak Razgatlioglu claimed victory without a challenge from his rivals, while Jonathan Rea was able to fight back through the field along with Scott Redding in the penultimate Tissot Super Bowl race for the Pirelli Estoril round. Razgatlioglu had a fantastic start from pole position as he took and maintained the lead of the race on the opening lap. He pulled out a gap of over 1 second ahead of Garrett Gerloff in second as the American secured back-to-back podiums in the World Superbike race. There was an intense battle between Michael van der Mark and Chaz Davies as they battled the entirety of the 10-lap race as Yamaha claimed 1-2-3 finish for the first time in World Superbike history after securing a front row starting positions for race 2. Davies finished the race in 4th place ahead of Rea and Redding as they battled their way back from 15th. Rea was still chasing his 100th World Superbike victory while Redding was looking to end the season well as a preparation for the build-up for a 2021 title challenge. Alvaro Bautista and teammate Leon Haslam finished in 7th and 8th place, respectively, to secure a third starter row with Michael Ruben Rinaldi finishing in 9th. The 1-point gain by Rinaldi was enough to secure him the independent riders title. Loris Bass was not able to finish the race as he crashed out on lap 3. Alex Lowes was another non-finisher in the race after a low side crash at turn 13. Now, the top 6 riders following the Tissot Super Bowl race were Toprak Razgatlioglu, Garrett Gerloff, Michael van der Mark, Chaz Davies, Jonathan Rea, and the championship challenger. Redding was looking to end the season well, to use it as a preparation build-up for a 2021 title challenge. Scott Redding finishing in 6th. Now with that, we end the coverage of the Super Bowl race where Toprak Razgatlioglu made a fantastic effort to win 2 races in a row. Now with that, we move on to the race 2 of the brilliant Estoril round, where Chaz Davies took victory as Kawasaki wins Manufacturer Championship by 1 point. Now, season-ending race 2 was full of drama at the Circuito Estoril as Chaz Davies claimed victory in his final race for Aruba IT Racing Ducati team. Davies started the race from 4th place and was instantly involved in a fight for victory. He moved on into the 2nd place, passing Toprak Razgatlioglu. The battle for the second came to an immediate end when Jonathan Rea came in contact with Razgatlioglu's Yamaha machine at turn 3. Rea rejoined the race and finished in 14th place while Razgatlioglu was able to finish the race in 3rd. Scott Redding managed to cross Razgatlioglu for 2nd podium place, and Redding heroics meant Ducati won team championships ahead of KRT as Ducati scored their 950th podium place in World Superbike racing. Michael van der Mark came in 4th place as he ended his Pata Yamaha World Superbike official team career. He finished ahead of Alvaro Bautista in 5th place, who was 5 seconds clear of Michael Ruben Rinaldi. Rinaldi finished in 6th place after contending a multi-rider fight with Leon Haslam, Xavi Forés, Federico Caricasulo in 7th, 8th and 9th. And at the end, Xavi Forés secured 8th place, which meant Kawasaki beat Ducati to the Manufacturers' Championship by 1 point. Tom Sykes completed the top 10, 2.5 seconds ahead of Caricasulo, who finished 1.5 seconds clear of Hannes Folger in 11th. Loris Bass went off the track as he suffered a technical issue. Eugene Laverty finished in 12th place, while Leandro Mercado finished in 13th. Rea came in 14th, while Matteo Ferrari finished in 15th. Eric Granado missed out on points ahead of teammate Takumi Takahashi as they finished 16th and 17th. Sergio Moraes was 18th ahead of Loris Cressan, who finished in 19th. Garrett Gerloff crashed out of the race on lap 3 at turn 4, while Alex Lowes also retired from the race after he crashed with just few laps to go. Now with this, the race 2 came to an end. A fantastic win for Chas Davies meant that Kawasaki took the manufacturer's title with just 1 point from the Ducati. It was a fantastic weekend where it all ended with Jonathan Rea winning the championship and Kawasaki claiming the manufacturer's championship. At the end of the race, top 6 riders were Chas Davies, Scott Redding, Toprak, Razgat Leoglu, Michael van der Mark, Alvaro Bautista, and Michael Rubin Trinati. And with this, we end our coverage of the Estoril round. With this ending, let's talk about another MotoGP race that happened in Motorland, Aragon. The headline read, Rins wins the battle against Marquez in Aragon. Yes. Now, Alex Rins won the Grand Premio de Aragon race as Alex Marquez picked up a second podium place in the consecutive MotoGP races. Now, with this result, the championship has taken another twist where Joan Mir now leads the overall championship standings after the pole position rider Fabio Quartararo reached the checkered flag in P18. Now, if we talk about the race, Maverick Vinales got off to a scintillating start as he almost came in contact with Quartararo in turn 1. Morbidelli came in the opening left-hander from inside, but the Italian went wide. This allowed Vinales and Quartararo to go through as the factory Yamaha took the lead. Rins also made a phenomenal start as he was up to P4 on the opening lap, ahead of Jack Miller and his teammate Mir, who also started off well in P6. Cal Crutchlow got down to P12 on the opening lap from row 1 as the championship contender Andrea Dovizioso made a good progress into P8 from P13. And lap 2, Quartararo went quicker to bring the gap down to half a second from the previous 0.7 second. Rins was showing some superb pace as the Suzuki start focused its attention on the front riders. Morbidelli was passed by Rins and Quartararo as Quartararo went slightly wide. Vinales was riding at a fast pace, but Rins was flying. It showed in the race as the gap was soon under half a second. Morbidelli showed good pace as he crept up to the tailpipes of his teammate. 5th place Suzuki X-Star rider Mir was the fastest man on track on lap 5. Miller and Alex Marquez were also scrapping for positional places. Lap 6 came. Rins was 0.6 quicker than Vinales as Quartararo pace dropped slightly as Mir and Morbidelli caught on to the bike of Quartararo in no time. Morbidelli passed Mir as he focused his attention on the Petronas Yamaha SRT duo running alongside each other. Both went wide in turn 16 as Mir said thank you very much and went through in P3. Morbidelli then held P4 as Quartararo dropped to P5. At this point, Le Mans podium finisher Marquez was the fastest man on track. On lap 8, Rins passed Vinales to take the race lead. A smooth pass by Marquez took P5 of Quartararo as Marquez showed outstanding pace as he picked off Morbidelli on lap 9. The Spaniard was now only rider in the 148 seconds. Quartararo looked in big trouble again as the Frenchman was riding in 150s. A slew of riders led by Takaki Nakagami, Miller, Dovizioso, Crutchlow all came for him. After a while, Nakagami was through on him at turn 16. While the French rider was not unable to hold tight line, Miller and Dovizioso also passed him, dropping him to P9. Rins led the race. Marquez was right behind. Mir, as a rookie, was in the victory fight in Aragon. Mir went inside of Vinales in turn 15 and then swept in turn 16. As the race progressed, Marquez was now in P3 with 10 to go. It was the Suzuki 1-2 in the front with others catching up further back in the field. The Quartararo was having a disastrous race and it was down to P15 as Johan Zarco, Daniel Petrucci, Aleix Espargaro and the Red Bull KTM factory team duo of Paul Espargaro and Bart Binder went through. Marquez was the only one riding in the 148s and Vinales was not able to catch the leading three. On lap 16, Mir and Marquez closed down on Rins as the gap came down to 0.6 second. Quartararo was then dropped to P17 as Miguel Oliveira and Red Bull KTM Tech 3 teammate Iker Lecuona went through. With 7 laps to go, Vinales was nearly 2 seconds off the front riders, as it was a fight between two Suzukis and Alex Marquez for the Aragon GP victory. With 6 laps to go, Rins was 3 tenths in front. Marquez was sticking behind the Rins Suzuki. He was at a race pace where it felt like Mir was holding him up. Then came the penultimate corner. Marquez then swept aside Mir and was now in P2. Rins and Marquez were 1-2, and the gap was coming down as Marquez was over 3 tenths quicker. Rins was looking good, but Marquez had an absolutely cracking pace. Looking to hunt down Rins, he made a final push and then he went a bit wide. A blow which would make sure Rins get his victory. With 2 laps to go, Rins was now 3 tenths ahead of Marquez, who remained at 0.3 seconds on the last lap. Mir was on the other hand losing ground and now had to look out for Vinales and Morbidelli. All eyes were on the battle in front. Marquez was right there with Rins, as it was tensions all around the circuit. Marquez wanted to try and get close to slipstream, but Rins was riding like a champ as he rode smoothly into a long straight. Marquez wasn't close enough and Rins made no mistake as Rins took victory by 0.2 seconds ahead of Marquez after another stunning ride by the HRC rookie rider. Rins rode a flawless race and Marquez rode a stunning race to secure 1 and 2 podium places. Mir, with his 5th podium in the last 7 races, took the championship lead from Quartararo ahead of the next week's Aragon race. Vinales came in 4th as he closed on the championship fight to 12 points with 4 rounds to go. Nakagami secured a superb 5th place as he crossed Morbidelli on the last lap. Morbidelli settled for P6. Dovizioso had a terrible weekend but eventually secured P7, which made him closer to the championship lead. Talking of Mir, a 5th podium in the last 7 races sees the Spaniard leap ahead of Quartararo for the championship lead. 6 points is the sophomore's advantage over El Diablo heading into the second Aragon race in 7 days' time. 6 points is the sophomore's advantage over El Diablo heading into the second Aragon race in 7 days' time. Crutchlow managed to climb back to P8 after a bad opening lap. The 2 Ducati bikes of Miller and Zarco completed the top 10 as they need to do much more work. It looked like they could do with much more work on their bikes. Paul Espargaro crossed the line in P11 with Aleix Espargaro finishing behind his younger brother in P12. Lacuna grabbed P13 to finish ahead of the final point scorer Petrucci. Biggest shock of the day was seeing Quartararo finishing P18. The 21-year-old couldn't get the medium front tire to work. It meant Quartararo relinquishing the championship lead. As the race was over, it supplied us with more drama and unpredictability as another race gave us another winner. With 4 more to go, there is a bundle of surprising waiting for us in the wings, we are absolutely sure of. So with this race ending, the top 10 riders were Alex Rins, Alex Marquez, Joan Mir, Maverick Vinales, Takaki Nakagami, Franco Morbidelli, Andre Dovizioso, Cal Crutchlow, Jack Miller and Joan Zarco. With this race ending and the MotoGP title race getting ever so close, we expect the next 3 to 4 races to be crackers in their own right, and let's hope one of them comes out as a winner, as this brilliant 2020 season, brilliant and unpredictable 2020 season comes to a close. Now with this coverage, we end our podcast. Hope you enjoyed it. Please comment in the comment section below and tell us how you liked our podcast, and if you want us to cover something else, Do share your comments even if you don't like the podcast. Like, share, subscribe to our podcast and make it India's number one two-wheeler podcast in the future. So with this, we end our podcast. Follow us on social and follow this hashtag called CycleCast to get more info on our podcast episodes. Now before we go, we would like to say, or as we always say, ride safe, always wear protective gear, and ride everywhere. With this, we take your leave until our next podcast episode. We'll see you. Bye.